Hello everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back. So I am so excited to finally be sitting down to film my finale for my Pan Those Eyeshadows Project Pan. I've been working on this since January and it has very quickly become one of my favorite projects to participate in. So I do already have my intro for next year filmed and I think that will be coming up around the 1st of January. So you guys will probably see this fairly close to me putting this up. I'm a little bit overdue, but a lot has been happening. So I finally have surprise house to myself, so I thought I would sit down and just give you guys an update and close this one off for this year. Hence why my hair is a little wet. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to start off with my progress from the last month, which there's not a ton, but there is a little bit. I do have a surprise pan, which I really wasn't expecting, so I'm happy about that. And then I'll have my numbers and stats and stuff. So as always, I'll have things chaptered, so if you want to skip around, you're more than welcome to do so. So let's get into the progress. So my color story last month was quite interesting. I had a bunch of dark shades. I probably would have rolled out the dark brown matte if it hadn't been the last update, but I figured I'll just leave it in. So first up, I'm going to start off with my least used shade, which is the aforementioned dark brown matte, and that was the shade Cupcake from my Melt Gemini palette. And so I used this twice since the last update. It really doesn't look used a whole lot. I was hoping to sort of use this as like a liner or a lower lash line, but I've really been going for like 2 or 3 shadow looks over the last couple of weeks. December has been incredibly chaotic. Even though I do enjoy taking the time to put on some makeup in the morning and just take a little bit of time to get ready for the day, I haven't really had as much time to put into it. Not that I put a lot of time into it, but I have been going for 2 or 3 shadow looks, and doing anything involving liner really has not been a priority. If this had not come in the last update, I probably would have made the effort to reach for it a little bit more, but I didn't, and that's okay. Next up, with 3 uses total, is the shade Bamba from my Melt Mary Jane. This rolled in last month as well. I really do like this shade. I just wasn't reaching for this one as much. It does look like it has a little bit of a disturbance more than when I rolled it in, but I didn't reach for it a whole lot. This did actually work quite well with one of the shadows in my Pan That palette, Industrial from my Natasha Denona Mini Retro, but like I said, I was just really focusing on 2 or 3 shadow looks, so it just kind of got, I guess, forgotten about a little bit more in sort of everything that's been going on this month. And I do hope this ends up in again because it is a really gorgeous shade and I do really like reaching for the Mary Jane palette, but this month was just not, I guess, the best month for a shade like that. So next up, with the shade 5 uses, I have the shade Aura from my ABH Carly Bible palette, which is a really gorgeous like coppery rose gold kind of shade. I'm wearing it today. I think I've worn it in a couple of videos because I have been making more of an attempt to reach for it. I was hoping to hit pan on this because I did have a decent amount of a dip on it when I rolled it in, and I am so close but no cigar. I think that realistically I didn't bring a ton of palettes down with me, and I might be here for a while depending on our COVID situation, because it is certainly a situation. So I think that I will probably reach for this a few more times, and I probably will hit pan on it just because I would like to finish what I started, you know, but I don't have pan in it in this project. I'd kind of hoped to, but this one was sort of one of those last-ditch attempts to reach for, but it is definitely very used, and I am a lot closer than I was when I rolled it in, so I am happy with having used it, and I feel like 5 uses is, you know, definitely not too bad for a monthly usage. Next up, I have the shade Laurel from my Natasha Denona Sunrise palette, and this was rolled in the last update as well, so I used this 6 times, and it does definitely have, I think, a little bit more of a focus dip forming. I was mainly using this one as an inner corner highlight. It worked really well with some of the shades in my Pan That palette, the Mini Sublime, so I did reach for it quite a bit like that, but I didn't really reach for it as an all over lid shade. I don't know, it's been very gloomy and overcast, and so I haven't really been feeling like reaching for the warmth in this palette quite as much this month, but I am thinking that some of the reds in this I think will get pulled out over the next week or so as we sort of approach Christmas, in the period between Christmas and New Year's. But having had a couple of these shimmers in this project before, I do know that these pans are quite deep, and so at least you get bang for your buck in terms of like shelling out for a Natasha Denona palette, but I know that I'm nowhere near pan, and I think in order for that to happen, this would have to be in for quite a few more months. But it was nice to have this in, and I do always enjoy reaching for this palette. Like I said, maybe just not like the most seasonally appropriate. And last but not least, we have my surprise pan. I actually managed to hit pan on Leo, which I was not expecting. I've had a couple of Melt shadows in this project before, and they are quite difficult to hit pan on. They're very deep, and Melt really does not play around with the pigment, so I was not expecting to get anywhere near pan on this. And then the last time I used it, after 9 uses since the last update and 22 total, I did manage to hit pan on this. I did have a little bit of a dip when I rolled it into this project, and it's been in for, I think, since August, so I had a pretty significant dip by the last update, but I really didn't think that I was going to hit pan on this one. I sort of resigned myself to that fact, but it did in fact happen, so I'm pretty happy about that. I do really love this palette, and I really want to have it look a lot more used and reflect how much I love it, so I was pretty happy to have at least one pan, because I was thinking for a while I wasn't sure I was going to hit pan on Aura, and so I was hoping to have at least one, and it did happen, and I feel like this pan is definitely going to expand over the next few days to weeks. In the, between Christmas and New Year's, I tend to reach for a lot of greens, so I might wear this to Christmas dinner, we'll see. But I think this will definitely get a little bit more use over the next little while, and then it might sort of go away for the winter at least. But really happy this was in. It was a really fun addition, and I'm glad, this is like my favorite green in my collection, so I had a lot of fun using it, and I really did enjoy getting to reach for it more. So that is my update for my progress for this month. I will be starting fresh in January with a fresh new color story, so that should be up at some point, I think around the first of the month. So let's talk about my numbers. I think you guys will see this after you see my little Black Friday haul. Some things happened. So next up, let's talk about pan percentage, and I'll show you my bonus pan. So as of the last update, my pan percentage was at 15 out of 124, which comes out to a percentage of 12.1%. I have hit 5 additional pans since the last update, 1 in this project, and then the rest of them have been in my Pan That Palette project, which I will have that linked up in the cards if you guys are curious. I hit a bunch of pans in that, and then I had 1 bonus pan as well. So my new pan percentage is 21 out of 147 pans. I did purchase a few new palettes, but my pan percentage has still gone up, so I'm at about 14.2 right now. There has been quite a bit of change throughout the year. I started this project at the beginning of the year with a pan percentage of 0. The highest it's ever been is 18.5 in, I want to say, August, and then I picked up a few new things, and so now we're at 14.2, but generally we're on the up and up. I think I'm pretty much done buying eyeshadow palettes for the foreseeable future, so I am looking forward to seeing where I'll be with this by this time next year. So my bonus pan, I only have one that I can show you. Like I said, the rest of them are in my Pan That palette, but I did hit pan on the shade Base in my ABH Norvina palette, which is this cream color right here. And I mainly use this as a lid setting shade, which is why I hit pan on it. I'm trying to finish up the ABH primer, which I really don't love, but I do find that it needs to be set down with like a neutral shadow, so I've been sort of working through a bunch of those in that way. So I did hit pan on this. I've had pan on the shade Bear from my Carly Bible palette for quite some time, and that is also getting quite a bit bigger, which you might see in the footage of Aura. I don't know exactly how I'm going to split screen those, but yeah, so that is my bonus pan that I can show you, and the rest of them are in my Pan That palette. So that is sort of wraps up this month's progress. I'm pretty happy with how things went, all things considered, and I'm happy to have definitely an increase in pan percentage, especially because I did purchase two new eyeshadow palettes. Before I wrap this up for 2021, I just wanted to go through and talk a little bit about my numbers and the number of pans hit, usage goals. I sort of wanted to go through and tally this up just to kind of see what things were looking like, and I was actually kind of surprised because I felt like this was a little bit different than it actually was. So I rolled 20 shades total out of this project. So 5 of those were usage goals where I hit 30 uses and rolled out, and then I hit 14 pans in this project, and that is including Leo. I'm so close on Aura, but that's okay. So I averaged just under 2 shades rolled out per update, which seems about right. But what I was surprised by is that I felt like I rolled out more than 5 shades through hitting my 30 uses. For a couple months there, I felt like every single update I had like 1 or 2 usage goals, but I guess there weren't as many as I felt like there were, so I found that kind of interesting. I'm really happy with how this went. I feel like, especially starting out this year, I had a bunch of very new looking palettes that I hadn't really reached for a whole bunch, and I feel like this got me reaching for some shades that I wouldn't have already reached for, like Wild Child from my ABH Norvina, and I also got to work on some of my favorite shades, like the shade Leo. So I really enjoyed doing this project. I am so excited to be doing it next year. So if you were doing it, feel free to let me know down below. If you're participating, have been this year, or either are doing it next year, I would love to follow along with yours if you're doing it on YouTube, or if not, just let me know how it's gone for you. If you haven't already subscribed and you want to see more of my face, I'm trying to upload more like once a week for the foreseeable future. I like to do beauty videos and project panning content, so if that sounds interesting, feel free to hit that subscribe button. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like it, and I hope you all have a very happy holidays, and I will see you in the new year. Bye!